All right, so the prosecutor in Utah is charging Tyler Robinson with 7 different counts, and they are ultimately seeking the death penalty. I want to talk a little bit about it, and I want to talk a little bit about my overall feeling because I feel like I've sort of been compelled to express a couple of different opinions about this, but ultimately they will boil down to meaning the same stuff really throughout the whole time. So first, I want to talk about it. Tyler Robinson, the man allegedly accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk, murdering him, killing him, however you want to say it, is 22 years old, which is something that I think is sort of being overlooked a little bit. Adds to the amplification of it being even more sad that this young man has thrown his life away in more ways than one, and we'll talk about. But as I mentioned, they are bringing down 7 charges with him, and I will quickly read them all. Count one, aggravated murder. Count two, felony discharge of a firearm. Count three, obstruction of justice. Moving a firearm because he moved the firearm from the crime. He took it away. So that's how I think they're going to do that. Count four, obstruction of justice, disposing of clothing, which I'm pretty sure is like because they are claiming he changed his outfits between when he showed up, did the crime, and then left. So I'm assuming that's sort of what that is entailing. I didn't know if that's actually a crime. I was unaware of that, but I think it just falls under the umbrella of obstruction of justice. Count five, witness tampering, telling a roommate to delete text messages. Obviously, there's a lot of text messages that go along with this. There's some people who are very speculative about the overall text message thread and line, which I encourage you to go look up yourself. It's not what we're going to talk about here today. Count number five, witness tampering. He was telling his roommate to stay quiet, so directing a roommate to stay quiet. Obviously, he told his roommate boyfriend to not communicate with police, and that did not go as well. And count number seven is violent offense committed in presence of a child. Now, those are the counts that Tyler Robinson is going to be charged with. I'm not sure how the justice system is exactly going to work. I'm sure some of these will maybe get moved out in favor of others, but that's not really the point. What I want to talk about really is just the overall result of it and what my thoughts on the death penalty is because I think there's going to be a lot of discussion about this and I want to make it really pretty clear from my perspective that I believe the death penalty is just in this situation, and I'm going to talk about how as a Christian I believe it is, and then how a person I normal contributing member of society I think it's okay as well. And I think those are two really big parts that are not going to be connected together. And I just want to make it clear that I would be very surprised if something like this has a lot of disagree and discussion about. Because at the end of the day, you really sort of just want to look at it and say, this guy committed this atrocious crime. And I would wonder what the people who defend him would think. The people who were for it and the just of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the people who celebrate it, I wonder what they're like, what do you think the punishment should be for Tyler Robinson? Because if you really say nothing, then you're sort of just I mean, that's obviously we don't even want to go down a path of pretend where that world exists. But I fear that maybe some of them do think it is. So, point I'm trying to make is that I don't think you should really uh, disagree with anyone's opinion about this. You are entitled to whatever your opinion is from the standpoint of if you think the death penalty should happen, if you think it shouldn't happen. But I think it's unanimous that he should be punished for the crime that he committed if he's convicted. Now, I just want to get that out of the way because now I want to start to talk about how a lot of people will undoubtedly mention that how can you be Catholic? How can you be religious? How can you be so ingrained in faith and then wish death upon someone else? And it's very clear, and it's not that hard to sort of make the connection because as a Christian, I am commanded to forgive. And I am taught to have no hate towards people. And I can confidently say, as much as it might not be well to be heard, or I understand that there's a lot of people who don't feel, I don't hate Tyler Robinson. I don't have fear for him. I don't have hate for him. I don't have anger. In my heart of hearts, as a Christian, I don't have any sort of negative anything towards him. I've forgiven him. I have accepted that his soul needs prayer and that he has made decisions that will be judged in the eyes of the Almighty and not me. And I am told to forgive and to forget and to, move forward. And I think that's pretty much what Charlie Kirk's family has all but said to the public. And that's just how we should reflect on this. I understand that there is anger and frustration, but do not get anger and frustration confused with revenge. You should not be sitting there wanting revenge on this man. And if you are, I think you should read more of your Bible and you should really do some more self-reflecting because when you think about it, has Charlie Kirk's family asked for revenge? Have they said that they want this man to be put to death? No. So what would make you, someone who is not closer than the most closest person in the situation, have an opinion and have a thought worse than what that person believes? That kind of makes sense. I hope it does. That's sort of what I've thought about this a lot too. So anyway, point is, as a Christian, I don't hate this man. I don't have anger towards this man. I've forgiven him, like I've said. But I do think that that can be the same, as well as the acknowledgement that we are all with sin. None of us are without sin. We are all sinful people. We all make sins regularly. And I think it's important to understand that that's sort of what we're here for. That's sort of what the journey is all about, right? And I think something that is often sort of looked down upon would be that, you know, how do you want this guy to go to death? Why do you want this guy to be sentenced to death? And I think it's pretty simple when you think about it. This guy committed a crime that put the lives of people in danger. He took the life of another human and he put lives, and he no doubtably traumatized many, many people who were there. The children who were there, the adults who were there, the kids who were there. So, as a society, we have done things over the years that have created safer environments with consequences for things like this, right? Things like police, things like security, things like that. We've created these ideas and these principles that we live on as humans. And within those principles, we have community. And we need to keep that community safe. And we need to protect that community no matter what the consequence is. And it just so happens that within that community, within this society, we have deemed that a murder or an assassination or a crime of this magnitude needs to be met with the same magnitude as punishment. And I agree with that. I do not believe that we should be putting people to death simply because we disagree with them, which is seemingly what seems to be the motive for Tyler Robinson in the first place. But I do think that we are within our right to keep our community safe and to just because there's a whole bunch of things that I think people are overlooking. Because when you look down and you think about the crime, right? What did he do? Oh my goodness, he killed Charlie Kirk. Think of Charlie's family. Think of his kids, right? Think of the people who watched it. Like I thankfully am not one of those people who sat on my computer and I saw the video. I've seen one video, one angle of it, and thankfully it was the angle where really his body was blocked. And so I didn't see the entry point. I didn't see the exit point. I didn't see his face. It was the back of his head where I saw him fall. I saw that and I said, that's enough for me. I don't need to go out of my way and look for another video. I do have some people in my life who are in the medical field who watched the actual video before I had made that decision. And they were like, in our medical expert opinion, he's not going to make it. And then seemingly a couple minutes after that, I got the news that he hadn't made. So anyway, point I'm trying to make is that think of the trauma that this Tyler Robinson guy has now put on to other people. And so a crime of this magnitude deserves just of the same magnitude. And that's pretty much how I think you have to look at this. And now, if you disagree with the murder charge or with the death penalty, then I'd love to know what you think a just punishment for someone like this should be. But that is pretty much how I stand on it and pretty much where I am. I think we all need to pray for healing. We all need to pray for the families. We all need to pray for the soul of Tyler Robinson. I do believe that that soul could use some prayer, but I do believe that there are going to be thousands of people who disagree with that. So I think it's something that needs to be dealt with in your own mind, in your own soul, in your own searching, and that's totally okay. I just wanted to make a quick video talking about how I believe you can want Tyler Robinson to have justification in this world and justice in this world for what he did, when we all know that at the end of his life, he will be put before the Almighty and he will be met with the ultimate judgment. And I don't think it's going to take a lot of prayer or rocket science to know that unless he does many, 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 many things between now and that time, the eyes of the beholder will judge him in a way that I believe many, many people on earth think will be fair. But that's pretty much it. I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are. Let me know, and I'll see you guys later.